Well, welcome to this afternoon session of Trend Factory Talks. Very happy to have Matthias Heimberg come back. He is a consultant based in Switzerland, has consulted many fine jewellery brands and projects. And given that this year's theme is also on craftsmanship, Matthias wanted to give us some more insights on is it just a USP or is it actually a must-have for any brand in the jewellery space? So thank you so much for pitching this interesting topic, and I look forward to your talk.
Thank you very much, Laurent, for the introduction. Hello, everybody. Also, thank you to Stephanie Mendlein from the fair, who makes this all possible here. I think it's a fantastic fair, and excited to talk. Sorry, my pointer doesn't work. Oh, no. Okay. Just a few words about me so you know who's standing in front of you. I've spent many years in cosmetics first with L'Oreal, with P&G. Then I was in the watch industry for years as a sales director of a watch brand. And then now 12 years in jewelry. I was on the brand side, B2C brands. I was on the retailer side, Bucherer and Les Ambassadeurs. And I was also with B2B manufacturers. So I know a little bit all the different angles from the jewelry industry. So what are the goals here today? First, I would like that we understand the evolution of craftsmanship over time. Then we would like to understand the consumer perspective. What do consumers today think about craftsmanship? And then define some conclusions for the jewelry brands in terms of craftsmanship and brand building. First, let's see the definition of craftsmanship. It's the intentional mastery of materials, techniques, and processes guided by human expertise to create jewelry of lasting quality, aesthetic integrity, and meaning. The last word has become more and more important in recent years. But how has it evolved? At first, it was really mastery of skill and technique. That was all it was. Yeah? I don't know the word in English. In German, it's Zünfte. You have Zünfte for every trade in the Middle Ages. So that was really important. At its core, craftsmanship still means exceptional technical execution, precision in goldsmithing, in stone setting, polishing, and also wearability, proportions. It's also about deep material knowledge, gold alloys, gemstones, and durability. And then, of course, in the end, you want to have a high consistency, you want to have very high quality control, that you can really be a luxury brand. Then more and more, also, the human side became more important. So craftsmanship also implies the time that is invested, and it matters that it was personal time invested in the creating of the jewelry piece. And you see it also in the back of the fair, there's a few workshops where it's really nicely to see now craftsmanship in action and how much time and effort goes in. Yeah? So the decision to put in work time is not just, made for speed or margin, it's really also to put love into the piece. Yeah? And the human judgment plays a role even when technology is involved. Then also in the last 1-2 decades, the whole subject of ethics, sustainability, and responsibility has become more important. Yeah? For contemporary consumers, craftsmanship means responsible sourcing and material transparency, longevity and disposability, and pieces made to be worn, pieces that can be repaired, and pieces that can be passed on to the next generation. So craftsmanship has become a trust marker, proof that the brand takes responsibility for what it creates. Then, more and more, it has also become a recognizable handwriting. Modern craftsmanship is increasingly linked to identity of the brand, a brand-specific way of setting, polishing, or designing. I bring here the example of Schaffrath. They have a very unique way of setting stones so that they can still move. Subtle details that experts and increasingly also consumers can recognize. and craft as a signature, not just as a process. Another example is Jörg Heinz. They have very special closures that sets them apart, and it's a technique that only they really master. This is why craftsmanship moves from quality control to brand language, and I think that's becoming increasingly important. So the brands I showed before, I also asked them, hey, do you have some material to share? How you bring craftsmanship over to the consumers? And I said, yes, well, not really. We don't really want to share. We have these secrets, how we produce. And sometimes we tell someone, the end consumer, but more and more we just like it to keep it secret. But luckily I found the example of Nanis. I had a nice talk with them at the Vicenza fair. And they make beautiful jewelry that can be worn in very different ways. And you see here these earrings with the gold that has been hand engraved by the artisans with a special burring tool that creates, together with the diamond, this very special, beautiful glow. And we have here some pictures where you can see how they created. And they also told me they really use this when they have events, customer events. They show the craftsmanship. They show all the details, how they make their jewelry. And you see here Laura and Piero, who themselves, the owner of the company, designers, are in the workshop and take very much care of every detail. And just to see how they produce jewelry, they also made a beautiful video that we're going to watch right now. And I hope it will work. So they have a very voluminous jewelry, but it's very light. You see that they have those forms that they build that then they meld together. Polishing the edges. Engraving. Stone setting. And here comes then, here you see it, the burring tool that creates that very special structure on every single piece. So a very beautiful example, and they use that in all their talk, and so that means this can be a USP. I mean, they have a very unique look, they have a very unique way of creating the jewelry, and they make it as a USP and are able to really excite their consumers with it. Who's also really putting high importance on craftsmanship are the big maisons from Italy and France, and they demonstrate craftsmanship with these high jewelry pieces. Here you see an example from Cartier. Here you see an example from Fred, a company that's up and coming, and me as a sailor, I like it a lot with the shackle here. And then Messica, probably the fastest growing brand in the recent 5 years. And you see how they all really showcase the way they do jewelry. Here I wanted to show a beautiful video of Bulgari, how they have the whole design process and the whole making of. It's a video that is linked to internet, but unfortunately we don't have the best reception here, so we cannot show it. But it's worth looking at in YouTube also how this is made, and especially the big maisons. I think they also have, of course, the financial power to create enormous pieces that are probably not really for sale or just to put on a nice model on a red carpet event. But yeah, I think that's where craftsmanship is really at its best. So, and recently, of course, craftsmanship has more and more also been mixed with technology. We have 3D modeling, we have 3D design, we have advanced cutting. I mean, I was just in a diamond hall, and I was explained on a rough, you know, how now the machines automatically analyze it and already cut the roughs to the maximum of the rough that they have. Then lab-grown diamonds, which is very much a technology product, starts to be really, I would say, state of the art here also at the fair. 2 years ago, not much. Last year, a huge discussion. What shall we think about lab-grown diamonds? And it seems to me that now also here in Europe, it has become accepted that lab-grown diamonds are also just part of jewelry. So technology is also seen as a tool, and a tool that has to be used in the right way. So it's also about mastery of technology. And you can create the term future craftsmanship that blends precision with artisanal sensibility. So it still takes both. You need to have the technical expertise, but you still need to have the eye and the ability to produce beautiful jewelry with it. Then here, another video that I want to show, and it's actually a video that is a little bit sad, because it shows you how 18-karat jewelry is made completely by robots. This company here, they have an ability to have the gold kind of drop. They bend the gold immediately. They have then machines analyzing the stones, picking the right stones, setting the stones automatically. Then it goes into automatic polishing machines. Then at the end, it's even packaged automatically. Yeah? And I think a lot of fashion jewelry is made like this, but probably more and more also 18-karat jewelry will be produced like that. And that raises, of course, the question, is that the end of craftsmanship, if that really takes over? I hope not. Let's start to talk about branding. I'm a brand strategist, and that's why I also ask myself the question, craftsmanship, is it just a must-have or is it a USP? Yeah? And so let's have a look at the brand pyramid. That's something I discussed a little bit more in depth last year. You see a brand is composed of many elements. You have a brand vision and a mission. You have a corporate identity, you have a special design for the brand, you also have a logo, you have visual merchandising. Yeah? When you walk into a boutique from Cartier, you immediately know it's going to be red. Yeah? If you walk in a Van Cleef boutique, there's different colors that play a role. Brand positioning, price, materials. Then the brand pillars, is it a brand that is mainly doing pearls? Is it a brand that is fully focusing on diamonds? Is it a mix? Brand personality and brand values, that's very important, and that's a really big differentiator nowadays. And then the value proposition, what are the unique benefits, the quality and the service you provide with your brand? The brand promise, what is the commitment to customers and consumers that they can consistently expect from the brand? And then, and that's the interesting thing, the brand essence, the core of the brand universe. I talked a lot about this. It's an emotional benefit that you want to portray. Yeah? And I think the strong brands are really good at that they create a brand universe that is kind of engaging, that is inviting, that people want to see. So craftsmanship, where does it play a role? It definitely plays a role in the design. It can play a role. It also plays a role in the value proposition. And it also plays a role in the brand promise. But it doesn't play a role in all the aspects of the brand, which is already a little bit a part of the answer. It is important to have craftsmanship, but it's not everything a brand can be about. And now let's look at the consumers. Let's start with the young generation, millennials and Gen Z. And I did an analysis. You see the sources at the bottom. What do they expect today? They seek authenticity. That's very important. They want to have transparency. Sustainability, more and more important. And craftsmanship alone is no longer enough for them. It's just part of the equation. They want more. They want to have more attention to issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the whole brand language, in how they choose models, how they visualize everything. Then they also want the brand to take a stance. They want that the brand stands for something, that they position themselves somehow. Yeah? It doesn't need to be politically, but they want that there are some real values the brand stands for. And they also live up to these values. Yeah? And also that the celebrities or the influencers that they cater, they live up to those values. And that's not always easy. I have an example here, Tiffany. They have made this very special Gen Z campaign with Jay-Z and Beyoncé, which was a success at the very beginning, but also very quickly became an issue because Jay-Z is more and more now involved in all these scandals, and there's more and more revelations of all the things that he might have done wrong, or some are confirmed that he did wrong. So it has become an issue. Beyoncé just recently lost about 10 million followers because of that, even though she's not even the one who did it, but she's just linked to Jay-Z. So it can really have an effect today, a negative effect on brands if the influencers don't live up to the brand promise and to the values of the brand. So transparency, sustainability is often linked to lab-grown diamonds also. The Gen Z generation is really adapting a lot, or they just grow up with lab-grown diamonds. It's a little bit like digital natives. They are lab-grown natives now, the ones who start to be interested in jewelry. And they like the aspect that it's very sustainable, that you can say, okay, we have solar panels and everything is created in a very natural way. And it's also interesting that more and more brands, you see a few ones here, Mandano I see back there, Nevermind, and other brands that really understand that sustainability is a cornerstone for brand building. And craftsmanship is linked to sustainability. And there's two examples that I really like. It's brands that are more in the online universe, New and Puka Berlin, two German brands that are doing beautiful jewelry, all with lab-grown diamonds, but also create really nice brand universes that the Gen Z generation is really liking and catering to. The core consumers, of course, are still 40 plus. Yeah, that's where women start to have enough money to buy their own jewelry. That's the age where you have the car, you have the house, and you start to have a higher disposable income. That's when you can start to really invest in nice jewelry. What are women 40 plus looking for? First of all, design language and timelessness. They want to have elegance over trend. Recognizable but not loud design. Pieces that integrate into an existing wardrobe, that are easy combinable also with the wardrobe, and that have a long-term relevance. They often look for pieces that feel settled and not experimental. Also, they want to have emotional meaning and self-reward, more and more important. They like to celebrate personal milestones, independence and success. They have brand promotions that they want to celebrate. They want to have self-expression. They want to have celebration of life stages also. Jewelry becomes autobiographical and it's not just a decoration. Then the quality of experience, very important. They don't want to just buy online. They still want to be catered to. They still want to go to the jeweler. They want to have a personal service. They want to have discretion. They would like to have a real expertise in store. They want to know about the pieces. They like to have a long-term relationship with their advisors. And luxury is relational to them. It's not just transactional. Yeah? Very important. And that's also a huge chance for all the jewelers. Then, of course, they want to have an expression of confidence and status. But it's less about logo visibility. It's less about Instagram visibility. It's less about fast luxury. They prefer understated sophistication, craft visible in detail, not in branding, and quiet luxury signals that they can see, understand, that maybe their peers also see and understand, but that are still not too loud. Then also in the 40 plus segment, the transparency and sustainability, that becomes more important. Ethical sourcing, responsible materials, all what we have said is important, but is not on top of their mind. Yeah? They might ask a question, but often when I ask jewelers, and that's also my experience in the whole sales process, it's hardly ever a subject, because people want to be in a nice emotion when they buy jewelry. They want to focus on the positive things, on the beauty of the jewelry, of how it's made, and not really ask those tricky questions. They just assume, or probably quietly in the internet, make the check, is it really well sourced and this is transparent? And what about craftsmanship? Well, for this group, craftsmanship is largely a baseline requirement. They expect it. They wouldn't even care if it wasn't there. Yeah? It just is a must-have. They assume and expect the perfect finishing, longevity and durability, high material quality and technical excellence. That is the base. But it's not that what really excites them. They just expect it. And that leads me to the key findings for jewelry brands. All the people here in the halls, I think they all have great craftsmanship, but are they great brands? Are they brands that are exciting to consumers? Do they have great storytelling? Yeah? That's the question. I say high quality craftsmanship is necessary, but it's not sufficient. Design sophistication, emotional meaning, and brand credibility drive desire. That's what engages people. That's what they want to have. They want to enter a brand universe. They want to be part of the brand. They want to be proud of the brand that they wear, even if there's not a huge logo, but they want to, feel this connection. Service excellence and long-term trust create loyalty. That's, again, when you have a jeweler or a brand that really caters you, that you really have this personal connection, that takes you as an individual, not just as a number. That's what drives it. And then communication, emotional storytelling, instead of pure technical explanations, drive brand desirability. And that's very important. And that's something that I think a lot of brands in here have room for improvement. They have great techniques, they have beautiful products, they have a nice display, but where's the storytelling? What's the story of the brand? Customer experience, it's really from seeing to feeling. They want to feel something, they want to have this emotional benefit, they want to be connected. Yeah? And the conclusions that I see, craftsmanship is a must-have in the luxury jewelry sector. In fashion jewelry, it doesn't even really play a role. Yeah? Craftsmanship can be a USP with exceptional mastery and the combination with a unique handwriting. We saw a few examples where I think, yes, what Jaffred does, it is a USP, how they set the stones. What Nanis does with the engraving, it is a USP. Yeah? So many have this really skill that can be a USP, but it's not enough. If this is the only thing, it's not going to be that what really creates that emotional bond. Yeah? So to build a strong brand, craftsmanship is never enough. It needs to be integrated in a broader brand universe that creates the more meaningful USP, the thing that people then really relate to. And I just make one example. Fred, the Sunshine Jeweler. I just saw a nice book behind the booth about Fred and how it's a Sunshine Jeweler. And, we saw before this piece here on the top right as an example for great craftsmanship in high jewelry. Yes, that's important. It's a beautiful piece. It is absolutely fantastic crafted. But to excite the consumers, you see here this brand universe, the Sunshine Jeweler. Maybe it speaks to you, maybe it doesn't. But to many people, this does speak to. Yeah? To me, it speaks. I'm a sailor. I like the water. I like the sailing boats. I like the design. So this is a brand universe that I feel drawn to. Yeah? Maybe you like another brand universe. Maybe you like the brand universe of Pomelato, where it's all about strong women. Or maybe you like the Tiffany world or whatever. But you need to have a brand universe that you cater to and the craftsmanship you just expect. So I think that's the big subject. How do you create a brand universe that is desirable, that is meaningful, that is connecting with consumers? And to me, this would be a great topic for next year's Inhorgenta, move from craftsmanship to the brand universe. Let's learn from the brands. How do they connect with the consumers? What are the stories they tell? What are the emotional benefits they have? What is, the brand universe they create to excite their consumers? And yeah, if you want to create a desirable brand universe, I'm happy to help. You have here the link to my consulting. There's a few brochures here to the side. That's one thing I like to do with the brands, to really define this special story, because every brand has a history, every company has a history, but from this history you can start to create a story, and you can also be inventive, like the Sunshine Jeweler. Yeah, this is a story that you create, and that's, I think, the beauty in jewelry, if you can do that. Create beautiful craftsmanship, fantastic design with a beautiful brand universe, and then I think you're set for success. Thank you very much, and I'm open for questions and discussions. I mean, maybe somebody can share
any questions?
A brand that they love, or any questions?
I have an observation and a question. One is watches, Switzerland. A lot of brands just said we're Swiss made and we have great craftsmanship.
Yeah.
And the limits of that have been shown historically also, that you really do need to move into brand universe, right?
Absolutely.
Do you think that watches have gone further in that conversation than jewelry? Or are different, or fashion, or how is the jewelry industry positioned compared to other sectors?
I think the reason why the Swiss watch industry is so dominant versus also now, let's say, other countries, there's watches being created in the UK, in Germany, US. Why are they not big brands? Because they didn't really understand what a brand is. They probably focused too long just on the craftsmanship, or maybe just the design, but where is the desirability? And I mean, which brand dominates everything in the watch industry? It's Rolex. Why? Because they create the brand universe of excellence. It's all about excellence. Yeah? I mean, the excellence starts with the craftsmanship. Even if today, when you go to and I had the luxury to once visit a Rolex manufacturing, it's all machines by now. At the end, maybe you have a watchmaker, still setting the dials and stuff, but basically it's all machine made. Yeah, all the parts are machine milled and put together in machines. It's crazy. But this brand universe of excellence, that it means success also, that every sponsorship they have is about success. They just go for Wimbledon, for Roger Federer, for the best violinist in the world. Whatever field it is, always the best that they support, and that creates desirability, and that's why they're so successful. I think other watch brands do a little bit too much of the same. They have Formula One, or they have a tennis player, and they have a few spokespersons, and they have a diving, and it's maybe too. I think they also have chances to create more unique brand universes still.
The Fred example is quite nice. And my second question was, what does it look like for a B2B brand or a B2C? I mean, for example, Cartier, they sell direct to consumers. Some brands here never get to talk to the end consumer. So isn't that also confusing then for some brands in how they approach their communication about
Very good
craftsmanship?
I used to work for a B2B company. And also there I say it's very important that you create a brand universe. Because the decision makers, even in the B2B, it's not always just logic. Yeah, it can be just personal, but it can also be, let's see, Rauschmeier over here. It's basically a B2B company. Of course, in the end, they sell to the end consumer also, but they have to first convince. So if they create a nice brand universe that you believe in, that helps. And pure B2B companies also. I mean, I used to work for a chain maker, and one thing there is today it's hard to find good people. Yeah, and if you then have a brand universe, I just don't know the term anymore. In HR, when you do employer branding was a big subject. Yeah, how do you show to the world that you're a great employer? Yeah, and there's lots of codes you have to do, and in the end, it's also an important emotional thing that you have to create. So yes, also for B2B brands, it's important to have a good story. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, I'm sure you'll be around for a few more minutes if there's any more questions. Thank you so much for your talk, Matthias.
Thanks for coming.